Welcome to Film Dispute, the show where two films go into a cage of death and only one emerges victorious, decided by you, the viewer. Hype. It can be that cherry on top of a sundae that makes it even more delicious when you're shoveling it down your goddamn face hole. Or it can be that excitement and buzz that polishes a turd so when you're shoving it down your face hole, it seems delicious, but later on you realize you've just eaten shit. This week, we dispute what is the most overhyped horror film of all time on Film Dispute. It's a makeup with the best! No, film! It's kind of like UFC, but not. Film Dispute! Yes, that's right, I'm Vorn, this is Film Dispute.
And I'm Rob.
This week, we have the most overhyped horror film of all time. What film have you chosen?
I have chosen The Babadook.
Oh, we'll get into the argument later. I've chosen the Blair Witch Project. So we'll get this on the way, we'll do a coin toss. Do you want heads or tails?
Heads.
Okay, I'm
Heads.
getting heads then.
Oh, you...
Let's go Euro. Oh, Vorn gets heads.
Oh, I called heads.
No, well, I took it. So. The Blair Witch Project.
So it's
Style over substance.
like your presentation.
Yeah, that is pretty true. Style over substance. The concept was basically to promote the movie as a real film, to treat it like it's some actual found footage.
Yep.
Correct?
Yep.
And that concept was marketed by pretending these people had actually died and it was like a snuff film.
Yep.
Correct? Yeah, I'm all on level so far?
Or you're just telling the facts.
Yes, yeah, that's facts. Yeah, I'm seeing if you're gonna. Okay, so what happened was the success came from people believing this marketing ploy. It was huge. There was a Blair Witch mania, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and we're talking early internet days, so there's not
Yes.
a lot of fact checking.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
it actually went viral, and it had people believing it, researching it. Had sort of not an ARG, which is an augmented reality game yet, but it had people researching it, and they'd post things online saying like, "Oh, the police are looking for them." They filmed fake policemen.
There was about $1 million spent on the campaign.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's smart marketing. I'm not hating on that. But the success came from the buzz and the hype, which is what we're arguing about today, is the marketing that was people thinking it was real. I'll just quickly go, some of the backlash that came from this was that it got the Golden Raspberry Award, nominated for Worst Picture. So there was hype, but the actual picture wasn't that good. Worst
Were they
picture
talking about
and,
picture quality though?
Well, yeah, exactly.
the
That was
raspberries.
horrible as well. And it won Worst Actress. It won. For the Stinkers Bad Movie Awards, it was nominated for Worst Picture, Worst Actress, Worst Screen Debut, and won Biggest Disappointment. And that's what this is about. It was a disappointment. It had all this hype, it was a huge hype, but the actual product just wasn't there. So I'm going to call this section stylistically designed to be that way. It's a little quote from George Lucas. So what this movie is basically it's got an inbuilt excuse for everything bad about it by the way it's filmed. So it was poorly filmed, but it's a found footage film and it was some kids like shaky camera, but they were meant to be filmmakers, so I don't know why they all had Parkinson's for some reason. They're meant to be filmmakers.
It wasn't from the perspective of, they were filming the crew. Like it felt like this was like a B cam almost.
Oh, there was two cameras going.
Yeah.
Shot choices. Shot choices like...
Shot choices are what made this film work for me.
Shot choices is why this film's like the editor has the option to choose what they want to show to tell their story, and even that, pretending it's a found footage film, poor shot choices, bad framing. Now this is huge. Come on, bad framing. This is a shot. I'm going to show you a shot now of someone talking to camera. How would you shoot that if you were showing?
I'd probably cut myself off there.
You've actually nailed it. What is this? What is that? Like how? That is just. They're meant to be filming. Why are you?
They're big cameras.
You're holding it down here and filming yourself talking. If you want to.
They're big cameras.
I know,
back in the day, maybe it's a long lens.
I know. Yeah, if it was a long lens, it would be fucking pointing up there. They'd be throwing it down a well and looking up. It was a long lens. Like I know selfies weren't invented back then, but they could hold it in front of your face and talk to the camera. Poor pacing, janky editing. It's all over the place.
Well, there's no editing because it's the footage where it picks up where the last cam, like when they were going along.
Well, you know that in reality there was like 19 hours of footage they cut out.
Yeah, that's as a film, like
yeah.
to create
But
this
that's
style.
is it a film or is it really found footage?
But it's okay. That is the dumbest argument.
Is it a film or is it found
All right,
footage?
that's it. We have to fucking argue about found footage films here because another time. Because that's
Another
fun.
time, yeah. Let's talk about it then. Let down ending.
Oh, disagree.
Well, yeah, you can disagree. No crew. There's no gaffers. There's no ADs. There's no cinematographers, which is huge because it just looks like crap. I know it's meant to look like that, and that's what I mean. It's stylistically designed to be that way, which gives an excuse to look shit.
What has this got to do with the hype?
But I'm just telling you, what's a bad film? And I've got a little challenge for you.
Okay.
It's called the Blair Witch Challenge. Editor, hit some game show music. So we've got a little game show going here. So which shot is me walking around my backyard and swinging my iPhone around and pressing photo at a random point, and which is a screenshot from the movie?
That would be you.
You're correct. This is Blair Witch.
Yeah.
Let's keep going. Which is a shot of me just waving my camera around in my room, and which is from the Blair Witch.
Well, that would be from the final scene of the Blair Witch. Yeah.
You're correct.
Cool.
Which of these is a shot from the movie and which is just me putting it down my pants and taking a shot?
That is your penis.
Wrong, that's Blair Witch! You can't tell my penis from the Blair Witch! Which of these is from the Blair Witch, which is me just waving my phone around? Take a pick. Take a pick, which one?
That's Blair Witch.
They're both iPhone photos! You can't tell me doing this from an actual film! That gives you an idea of how bad it is.
Then again,
Okay,
Vorn is
which
not
of these is from the movie, and which of these was just me taking a photo in the dark?
There's 3 photos there?
No, there's 2.
That looks like straight from the Blair Witch.
Oh, unfortunate! You got that wrong again. And that's not just like hey, it's a cut between, it's a little shot between scenes or anything. There's a whole scene in the dark, filming nothing with voices.
I'm gonna go with my argument on why the Babadook is overhyped. Okay, and I think to get to that kind of point, that was the only bit of animation I did. My PowerPoint fucked up just before, so this is gonna be nice and special. But at least it's gonna be substance over style this time. And I'm actually gonna argue what we're here to argue about. So, defining...
I'm continue, you'll see.
Defining hype. Okay, click. Critic reviews. I think one thing that you didn't mention in your thing, which is fine, it's coming. Yeah, okay. So we're gonna go with critic reviews is one of our hypes. Are you going for the double punch? Okay, what else, how else can we define hype? Viewer reviews, word of mouth. Another thing, that's what causes hype. The word of mouth obviously is something based on the viral campaign that happened. Viral marketing, which is where Blair Witch fucking shone. And but I think critic reviews, most important hype, because you see this rating and you're just like, what the fuck? Like, everyone's loving this, and you go in and you're like, cool, I'm just gonna switch off and just watch this, and then you come out bitterly disappointed. Whereas like with something with a cheesy campaign, if it doesn't work, you're like, well, they did well in the campaign because I'm fucking sitting here watching it. So don't give it, you give that face as in like whatever. Okay, critic reviews. Babadook, 98%.
Yeah.
That is fucking stupid.
It is, I agree.
Yeah. I mean, Spy's in the 90%, so stranger things have happened. And then Metascore, which is arguably a better system, 86%. Still good. Better user review though. So Babadook,
that means it's living up to hype, doesn't it?
No.
If it's hyped at this by a critic, the critics are hyping it, and the audience don't believe the hype is real.
But we're also arguing our personal beliefs in the hype, because a lot, like $250 million says that Blair Witch wasn't overhyped because people bought into it and went and saw it, and people.
But you buy into it by going and seeing the movie, and you pay for a ticket. You don't. A hype is paid off when you review the movie, or when you see it afterwards. You don't go in and go, "Oh, I didn't enjoy it. I'll get my money back."
Well, I definitely didn't enjoy this film, but we'll get to that. Marketing to Babadook. It relied on fear-based quotes for marketing. I mean, like anything from a quote. You've got scariest films, The Exorcist. But why? Since The Exorcist, like, do you argue? Like, I don't think The Exorcist was a scary film. I think at the time it could have been. I think.
Yeah, I never got scared by it.
Yeah, I think it was something that, like, it was obviously something.
I think scariest film of all time is very.
It's subjective.
It's subjective. It's on your experience. Like the GoldenEye intro screen scared me once, and when I first rented it, I put it in and I turned it on and went. And I turned it off and played it the next day.
Maybe people genuinely believe that it's a good film. Like, it's obviously got a high approval rating on that. The Babadook. You think it's a good film?
It's not a great, but it's good.
It just isn't a horror film. That's where my main argument will come in. So
Who's the director of?
He's the director of The Exorcist, which is the scariest. So this was used everywhere. Like you couldn't avoid this.
Okay, let's hypothetical. You make a film, and The Exorcist director says it's the best horror film.
I'm going to market the fuck out of it. But what's that creating? It's creating hype. You've got
You've got a point there.
Yeah, it's creating hype in an unfair way, but obviously it's something that me or you would use if we made. The viral marketing with the Babadook. Let's go. Practically non-existent.
Yeah, exactly. So there's no hype.
So there's no hype in that. So the trailer went viral, but that was due to promises of being a scary film. The trailer, it's just quote-based hell. And yeah, so I mean, I was so excited for this film especially because everyone was hyping it up as this like slow burn horror film, and I love slow burn horror films. Like, you know, like obviously we've talked about House of the Devil, but films like Lake Mungo, if we're going with Australian horror films that work and psychologically get in your head, that's one that worked for me. Why didn't the Babadook work for me? Okay, so I wanted to like the Babadook, and I know that it's always a bad thing to go in super hyped, and I'm guessing when you first saw Blair Witch, you were expecting to be scared as...
I was scared to watch it because I didn't like horror films when I was a kid, and I watched it and I was really scared, and then I just got confused, and my IQ lowered significantly. Now,
I started watching the Babadook, and it's just a hate room. And I'm just sitting there, and I couldn't, like, I think I shouldn't have been referring to reviews, but the acting is just unbearable. Like, I couldn't stand her and the kid. Like, I mean, I know I get the point. Like, I get the point.
But you couldn't stand her.
Huh?
You couldn't stand her.
No.
Okay. Continue.
Okay, that's right. And I just felt like, all right, cool. We're going into a film here that is more about mental health than horror, and there's this monster that's kind of representing who she is and where she is at her life due to like grief that she hasn't dealt with. I'm like, and I get it. I got everything that it was trying to do, but it wasn't scary. Did everything pay off? Well, it made 6.6 worldwide off a $2 million budget. That's not $250 million off a $60,000 budget.
Making my points for me.
But they didn't spend $2 million in marketing, so
that means that their hype didn't work.
What is hype? Mostly positive reviews by horror films. So, yep, it was successful there. I actually left the movie angry. I left the movie almost as angry as I was when I walked out of the 2015 Fantastic Four. When it comes to the hype, I think this is the most overhyped film based on what I've read. And I'm sticking with my idea of hype isn't so much like mass hysteria. It's more about the hype by critics. And I think when it comes to respected film reviewers like ourselves, it's really easily to be... So
you reckon respected film reviewers hyped up the Babadook more than Blair Witch?
Yeah, and I've got proof of that in my coming...
Oh! The Babadook. Baba what? First off, we've got a sound recordist on today, Chris. Hey Chris, there's no camera so you don't need to wave. Just want to know, have you heard of the Blair Witch before?
Yeah.
Have you heard of the Babadook before?
No. Bullshit,
Have you even heard of it? How? Had you heard of it before today?
Most talked about bullshit overhyped horror films like the last 2 years.
He doesn't know anything about it. How can it be hyped when someone who's here working on a show about it hadn't even heard about it before coming in here? You're done. The definition.
Did he set you up for that?
No. He had no idea. The crux of this dispute. Hype. Let's go back to high school and start our little speech with dictionary definition. Extravagant or intensive publicity or promotion. I'd argue that Blair Witch got more extravagant or intensive publicity or promotion than the Babadook. Do you? If you do, vote for me. Let's have a look at extravagant or intensive publicity or promotion. Sundance. This is how it started. It was screened in Sundance and then was screened in Australia. The Blair Witch, screened with Sundance, then viral marketing campaign. Let's see what happened after that. Box Office Australia, $258,000.
It's not bad.
Box Office success worldwide, $248 million. That's a bit more. For their marketing, they had the Exorcist director, as you saw. The Exorcist director said it was the scariest film of all time. What did they have their marketing campaign? Found footage format, milestone in film history.
Why was it a milestone in film history?
This is what Wikipedia said. Critics all agreed that it was a milestone that was the first, it wasn't the first found footage film, but it was the first successful, huge found footage film. And it was a milestone in film history. Mark Commode, he was another critic who named The Babadook his favorite film of 2014. This is the kind of marketing they're getting. Roger Ebert, 4 stars. Didn't even bother to review The Babadook.
Because he's dead.
Yeah. Quality versus hype. So I was going to do this as just, this is my example of why I should win this argument. So if you look here, this is actually based off stats, which I didn't want to do at first. This is the Rotten Tomatoes score, critic, and then audience. So you had this up before. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to call this the film quality, which is the actual score from the fans, and the hype is the score from the critic. So if you look at Babadook here, it has more, like higher hype and higher film. But if you look at the gap between, there's a bigger gap here for the Blair Witch Project. I disagree with this as like function, because I feel that Blair Witch got way more hype. But if you even want to do it by statistics, this still has more. If you look there. Babadook's got some chops. Straight away, just quickly go through this film, why it was good. Empathy for Amelia. I would argue that I haven't really had empathy for a character as much as her since Nip Tuck, because I was like, if I had her life, I'd probably just commit suicide, because what's the point?
Yeah.
The psychological element, whether it's in her head, she's getting stressed out, she's got a million things going wrong with her, and how she deals with it, whether the Babadook is actually a monster or if it's in her head. Great. Essie Davis, as an actress, what a performance. This is someone that, for the majority of the film, you feel so bad for.
You felt bad for. I was just like, stop reading your lines and act.
Really? If you had a little kid like that who was breaking windows with a cricket ball catapult, wouldn't you be frustrated at this little annoying kid?
You'd be frustrated, but you wouldn't be just like reading by the like.
She was great, and then she goes from so empathetic to this motherfucker. Look at that. That's like legitimately scary. Look at her. She looks a bit like
hilarious out of context.
Color design. Color design in the movie, the blues and grays, really put you in the place of this sort of depressed situation she's stuck in her life. The art department. Got to admit the book. You got the book.
Oh, the book's great.
The book's great, thank you. Isolation. It did isolation well. Usually in a horror film, you're like, they go out to a remote location, they're like, my phone's not working out here. And then you're like, oh well, they can't call for help. This was set in the suburbs, and yet you still felt isolated. For her, she felt isolated, and you have the switch where instead of feeling empathetic for her, you feel worried for the little kid because she goes fucking crazy. And he feels isolated because...
You don't need to argue that The Babadook's a better film, by the way.
You agree?
But that's got nothing to do with...
Okay, cool, great.
Yeah.
The bottom line, because Stone Cold said so. Has this film changed the face of horror films? How many found footage horror films are there now? Paranormal Activity.
It took a while for the build-up to happen.
Has it changed the face of horror? Has the
no.
No.
I don't know.
Has it inspired sequels or
so
video
I was talking
games?
about Blair Witch. I don't think Blair Witch did either.
Well, has the Babadook inspired sequels or video games?
There's a video.
Yes, there is video games. Has this film captured the imagination of a generation? That's a quote.
That's a quote. I think it has, actually.
Has it inspired a whole subgenre?
It's rebirthed the old slow burn classic to the forefront.
Babadook did that. No other films were slow burn before this.
No, but it's rebirthed it, so it's kind of...
So you feel this is the movie that did it?
What, Babadook?
Yeah.
Give me another slow burn before it.
Has it made Glenside, South Australia a tourist attraction? Do people go there to get their Blair Witch memorabilia and get photos and stuff? No. It hasn't done any of that because it's not the most overhyped film of all time. I don't know how you could think that the critics... I don't know how you could say the critics hyped up Babadook more when people don't even know what the fucking movie is. If you haven't heard of this movie, it hasn't been hyped. If you've heard of Blair Witch, you know that you have to vote Blair Witch as the most overhyped horror film of all time.
Anyone believing that Vorn doesn't believe that The Babadook is one of those so highly talked about horror films, like on every horror film,
I think it is highly talked, and I think it's talked up higher than it is, but it's still not more hyped than Blair Witch. Because the quality of Blair Witch is so low, the difference is so high, because it was hyped so much.
Interesting. I've taken this argument I've been quite clear from a critical hype standpoint, not the dictionary definition, because we're dealing with film here and
Backtrack.
not backtracking. I'm just
Trying
reminding
to find
you
a way
guys.
to win. He couldn't tell iPhone photos of my dick from the movie, so go.
I reckon I could take a good photo and grade it like Babadookie, but it would just because the actress isn't in it, you wouldn't be able to tell. So,
Continue.
the Blair Witch, was it overhyped?
Yes.
It depends on the circumstances in which you experienced it. Okay, so
This is the sort of the.
as a film, yeah, it was overhyped. As an experience, no. Imagine being like.
You've actually got a bit of a point. I like that point.
Yeah,
It's not going to save you, but I like the point.
This is the winning. This is the slam dunk. Watching the film now, give it to kids. They're gonna be like, "Fuck it!" Like Paranormal Activity. I would argue that it genuinely does scare you, and it does build that tension by doing a lot of absolutely nothing. And I think people hate it because it does nothing, but I think the nothingness is what works. And that little clock ticker is genius. This film doesn't build the suspense. But imagine being one of those people in one of those 27 cinemas around America when it first opened.
Wait, sorry. You think Paranormal Activity is genius?
I think that reinvented this kind of genre. It took it into a more mainstream area.
Discrediting yourself over and over again.
First Paranormal Activity film is great.
Okay. I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Is the name of this argument the most overhyped film of all time or the most overhyped experience of all time?
Overhyped. Well, it depends. It depends. A film is an experience.
I'm trying to kill on the technicalities.
It's not a technicality. Anyway, going to see this film at the time, being obviously like most of us, we were like, yeah, fuck yeah, like you'd hope everyone knows that it's not going to be real, but in the back of their minds, like, but what if it is? And I think that's where people sat with it.
Some people sat in the toilets puking because of motion sickness.
I did that with Cloverfield. Anyway, I think it would have been quite terrifying, especially being amongst people who are genuinely believing it. Or at the same time, it could have been hilariously awesome, being like, why the fuck are you believing it? Okay, and this fact sums it up.
And you can't, okay, this is who, you can't even write a sentence correctly. How do you expect him to analyze and devote film properly? And this fact sums it up.
So,
This fact sums it up. What does that mean?
I don't know. This fact sums it up.
Oh my god.
I think I might have shot myself in the foot with this quote. Let me. The Babadook was so overhyped, nobody demanded a sequel, unlike the Blair Witch. So, because the Blair Witch was good, they got a sequel. The Babadook, no, it was like, that was
Do you know sequels are based off money?
It's just a dumb ending.
Yeah.
That's right. There probably will be a fucking Babadook 2 when Jennifer Kent fails at the next film, like Greg McLean with Wolf Creek. So,
Sexist.
Greg McLean, sexist. Good.
Is that what you got?
That's where I'm at.
Okay, so you've heard both arguments. So now you decide whether the Babadook or the Blair Witch is the most overhyped horror film of all time.
And that's depending on how you measure hype. So
Okay, but if you think we're wrong, if you think there's another film that does it, leave a comment, tell us why we're wrong or why we're stupid or why Rob's right. I don't know anyone who would say that.
Let's sway the audience.
Or call us on this number and leave a voicemail telling us how dumb we are. Or just leave a comment and vote on FilmWank.com.
For me.